Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about psychology and true crime. Today's video is quite triggering, and so we will just be talking through in general what can happen in cases like this. In the trial, they are not using the word honor unaliving. Really, on YouTube, that language has been used, but the judge ruled that that term would be too prejudicial to be used in this case. And so these are two parents that are charged with attempted capital M after they physically harmed their daughter um, at her. She was at a bus stop, and Kathy. So, Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo did a phenomenal video. So she had a guest, I believe, Ravi. So Kathy had a guest on her channel, and I do have a link to this video down in the description if you haven't already checked it. Ravi was very insightful about Muslim, Arab, about certain cultures that some people might not be aware of. And in general, so when we talk about spiritual harm or spiritual, because with Lori Vallow, so Lori does not represent all of LDS. And if there are Christian parents that unalive their children, like they don't represent all of Christians. And so to me, these two individuals, they don't represent all individuals that are from the place where they're from. And that's what can sometimes happen with marginalized groups or with marginalized communities, is that sometimes when these two people do something, then sometimes that can reflect badly on their entire culture, when there are other people within that same culture that would not do that exact same thing. Now, there are some patriarchal cultures. There are some cultures where within the culture, they believe that the father he's responsible for the children. And if the children do wrong, or if the children go against Allah, or if they go against God or rules, then it's going to reflect poorly on the family, and that can bring shame to the family. And that can sometimes affect the family's place in society, or it could affect their role in the community, or that there can be an impact if the children do something. And often, because this isn't just within Muslim cultures, like this is also within Christian cultures. There can be, if a teenage girl gets pregnant out of wedlock, like sometimes people are looking at the father like, why didn't you? And it's just like, so I don't think within any culture there should be that shame. Children are not property. And it's sad that we have to say that. And I am going to give more of a breakdown of the history of this case, but I wanted to start with the fact that in societies, in families and communities and enmeshed families where children are viewed as an extension of the parents and not as their own autonomous individuals, they are at an increased risk for harm. And so I just wanted to mention that. And so somebody asked if this trial is going on currently. I believe today was day 6 of the trial. Court TV's feed didn't seem to be live today, so I tried to see what happened today, and they kept replaying some things. And so but I believe today was day 6, if there was any court stuff today. I do have links. Court TV has and I don't get anything for saying this, like I'm not a partner with them, like I just I am often over in their chat and they have a breakdown of each prior day of this trial. They also have a great overview of all of last week. Okay. And I have links to both of those down in the description. So, for a quick case overview, a mother and father, these two individuals in Washington state, are accused of trying to unalive their teenage daughter. The father's name is Hassan Ali, and his wife is Zara Ali, are facing several charges, including attempted capital M following an incident at a local high school on October 18th, 2024. And prior to this incident, so their teenage daughter, I believe she was 6, I think she was 17 at the time. Her boyfriend was 16, and he just so happens to be African American, because both the boyfriend and his father testified in this trial because the mother, Zara Ali, had physically assaulted um, uh, the boyfriend, the 16-year-old boyfriend, and the family had so the boyfriend's family got a restraining order against the mom, against Zara Ali. Okay, and so the daughter had run away from home because she had reached out to the school to let them know that her parents were planning to marry her. So my understanding and the reporting I've seen, they were planning to marry her to an older gentleman in Iraq, and she was going to be asked to, like, that day. The family was planning to fly to Iraq, and I think they were going to go through the process. So the family, I believe, immigrated to the United States. And around the time that the victim in this case, when she was 8 years old, she testified in this case. And so if you want to go back and check out her testimony, when I take a look at each day's overview, I can let you know which day she testified. I don't believe they show her on camera, but this whole case is just wow. And so the school had worked on providing her a safe space, and they also were so she was at the bus stop, and the father saw her at the bus stop and walks up to her, and she's kind of getting upset, and so the boyfriend just starts rubbing her on the back. But if this family was very conservative, a male touching, so just physically touching the daughter, that could be viewed as disrespect, that could be viewed negatively. And I also assume that the gentleman, so within certain cultures, African Americans can be viewed as thugs, or as, like, can be viewed very negatively. And so that's why media representations, how African Americans are portrayed in media, is really important, because sometimes some stereotypes can be reinforced. I'm not saying that the family, because I think the family is just, this was a boy that they did not approve of, and they did not want her to have contact with, and he was physically touching her. So I'm not saying that the fact that he was African American, but I don't think it helped. So that's just my guess. I think it added, because it's my understanding, as the father was being arrested, he was concerned that somebody was going to steal his car. So like, as he's being arrested, it's my understanding he's like, what about my car? Like, make sure nobody touches my car. And so, okay. All right. Um like um there is video, and I'm not going to play video, because there is video of the incident. It was captured on video, and and there's also video of the mother extremely distraught. But she's yelling for her husband, and I think she's upset, like, of what's happening with her husband. And I don't know that there's any proof of this, but there's been a lot of speculation and wonder of, like, if the father is physically aggressive with other family members. And was this just a general domestic situation, or was this truly like an honor unaliving situation, or like, and I don't know if it was truly about honor of the family, or if the dad just did not like the fact that he could not control her. And because there are multiple people hitting him, trying to get him off of his daughter, and he, like, continues to keep her. He pretty much chokes her out. Like, there's like he's choking her so hard that she passes out. There's been a lot of medical testimony in this case, um, but witnesses captured cell phone video of multiple bystanders punching the father and trying to pull him off of his daughter. Court documents reveal that the mother had been banned from the school campus about a month prior for allegedly trying to grab the girl's boyfriend. And both parents have remained in custody while they were awaiting trial. Okay, so that is the general overview. Now let's get to a little bit of day one. There were some highlights that I wanted to talk about. Um, so the victim in this case, her name is Fatima, and um, there, I think Fatima was mostly scared of her dad because even in her testimony, when talking about her mom, I don't know if she thought her mom was trying to hurt her, but the prosecution definitely feels that it was both of the parents. That the mother definitely didn't do anything to protect her or to try to pull him off. And okay, let me see. Yeah, so the bus driver during that first day, he talked about witnessing the fight, and he thought it was children, and he was surprised to see a man grab a female student and take her to the ground, and multiple other students trying to intervene. The bus driver blew the horn to attempt to break it up, and the man would not stop. And so the bus driver got off the bus and, yelled for him to let go of her. And the bus driver recalled that the father was silent and focused, not reacting to the punches or any of the students trying to get him to stop. And so, all right, so that was day one. Then into day two, I believe this is when okay, so I believe Isaiah's father testified during day 2, potentially. I'm trying to yes. And then I believe, Fatima also took the stand day 2, and, she told the jury that the conversation between her and her father began calmly, and they spoke softly in Arabic. She admitted talking back to him, and the conversation grew louder, and her father looked frustrated before what happened. Uh, and Fatima also talked about the fact that I think her father had threatened her in the past. Um, she was asked how she felt following the incident, and she said, "Heartbroken for what my dad did, and that she was afraid of dying." And that just because her life with her family is probably forever changed, and that's where I love how Kathy and Ravi talked about chosen family, because sometimes in situations like this, individuals, they end up having to break free from some of their family, and um, they're not, especially if they're gonna be a cycle breaker, because I think the father wanted her to be very obedient, and if she was gonna have a boyfriend and all of those things, that meant that she was ready to get married, and that's where the father was trying to marry her off to somebody in Iraq, and so, like, that's really, um alright. Um, alright. And so let me see. Alright. And to me, Fatima, like, she is the victim here, and, I don't know what's gonna happen with the parents and what the jury is going to find. I do think that if she doesn't have refugee status already, because I believe they were able, I think she might be a US citizen, I'm not sure. But because I thought she has a US passport, and they were trying to work on dual citizenship, on getting her uh, a passport for her Iraqi citizenship as well. But and sometimes people do that so that they can, if there's a restriction on one, or like sometimes people do that because they can try to go. if the rules are different in a different country, then sometimes having that different citizenship can be protective for some people. And a lot of people have talked about if the family had got her back to Iraq and if she had refused to um, there, I don't think they would be facing these types of situations. And their immigration status, like that will be up to like the US agencies. So I don't know anything, Gloria, about what will happen if they are convicted. All right. Um, all right. Ooh, it's just this is a very, very heavy case. And um let me see. And Court TV has a recap from each day. There were medical experts that talked about um, different that talked about different the medical side of everything of the charges. And the boyfriend did talk about knowing that he knew she wasn't allowed to date and that counselors had asked him to escort her to the bus stop after school. Oy, so sad. Um, all right. And that Fatima was visibly shaking when her father was at the school. That's what he testified to. All right. And then a family nurse practitioner who works at the Providence Harm and Intervention Center testified that she has performed dozens of those types of examinations. She said she examined Fatima a few weeks after she was initially treated at the ER, and at the time she still had symptoms. So a few weeks after the incident, she still had blurry vision, and that it had gotten worse since the incident, especially when stressed. She also had jaw and neck pain and had to move slowly due to trauma recall. Wow. And she was having neck pain all the way up until about December. So the incident was in October. So all the way through December 5th, she was still experiencing some neck pain. And I think that's just the prosecution just saying how serious the incident was. That it's that it wasn't like it was a minor, but like this was a serious incident. All right. Let me know if y'all have general questions. A lot of people there are also reports I see in the chat that she had claimed she had been harmed previously. And I thought that was about so what I heard from Kathy's stream was I think at an aunt's house. It was my understanding that maybe a cousin, and it wasn't clear what had happened with a like what exactly had happened. But all right. So let me see. Um, oh, wow. Terry mentioned that they were a co-author on a study several years ago. We taught older women, we thought older women would help and support younger women in their families. Um, So, Terry, if you want to email me that study, I would like if you have a link to the article, I would love to check that out. All right. And then I see, uh, hey, Karen. Yes, in many Muslim laws, the father owns the children, and within the United States. Okay, good. It looked like my side was buffering for a second. Thanks, Terry. All right, let me know if y'all have questions about this case. I definitely think that the shame that can come up in those in societies where they feel that the family is responsible for the behavior of the children. I think that can where people are focusing on shame and honor, and that's something that came up in Kathy's video in her conversation with Ravi, when we're looking at shame and honor, because shame says you're bad. So guilt is, so like she probably felt guilty for like talking back to her dad. You know, she was dating and her dad didn't want her to, but that shouldn't mean that you're like unalive. Like you should still be here. um, it's normal for kids and teens to push boundaries, and the fact that there are some cultures, there are some very those fringe religious beliefs, so that it's not typical within the bulk of a community. And in Kathy's video, she talks about the zombie, like the people that end up on that extreme of like zombies. That on those extremes, sometimes people can feel like they're saving their child by doing what they do, where someone like Lori Vallow might think that she's saving Tylee and JJ, and no, she wasn't. Like they should still be here, and those children have rights, and they have the right to be here. Oh wow, Karen, thanks for adding this. In England, the child belongs to the mother. Fathers have parental rights, but if the mother doesn't allow contact, the fathers have to go to court. Wow. I love knowing what happens in other cultures. Yes, they do have other children. I did not write it down. So she is the second oldest daughter. There is an older daughter that a lot of people are upset at. It sounds like that older daughter was an enforcer in the family. She was the one that I think helped keep the other children in line because she was there at the incident. And to my knowledge, there's no proof that she participated in harming her sister or anything like that. But it sounded like she was like, she said that the boyfriend hit the father. That was my understanding. So when I watched the video, it sounded like like the sister was trying to blame the boyfriend when he didn't do, like, he did not try to harm Mr. Ali first. Like Mr. Ali, he's the one that I think instigated the physical. And so I think the sister was trying to protect her parents. And that's what can happen in an enmeshed family where there are dysfunctional family roles. There is a family role called the enforcer. And Fatima was probably the black sheep, the person that, maybe was a little bit more Americanized and maybe like wasn't going by certain religious or cultural beliefs and values, that maybe was, trying to be independent, trying to be her own woman. And that can sometimes that can cause issues in very, very conservative families. I have worked with children of immigrants before, where sometimes the family has different rules, different cultural expectations than the children, and trying to get everybody on the same page, doing family work can be really important. And Ravi talked about the importance of when resources are provided to families that maybe do come with refugee status or anything like that, that it's offered in their language. So the mother, she mostly speaks Arabic, and because Ravi's mother, so based on what I got from watching Kathy's video, Ravi's mother would help teach English to women from different cultures, because learning the language, and because sometimes what can happen is people can end up in very small communities that maybe all think the same way, and maybe nobody's going to say like, oh, you can't do that, or isn't going to be able to provide that that balance. Does shame mean the same as in psychological trauma context? So when I think of shame, I think of like Brene Brown, who talks about shame. So guilt is I did something wrong. Shame is I am wrong. So shame is that, like that belief, or the family thinks like the child is somehow, because the child made a mistake, because the child isn't doing what they want them to do, that the child is bad and there's something wrong with this child, or that this child is, evil, or, like some people can go down some very, and that's shame-based language. I talk a lot about when raising neurodivergent children. Something I will never tell my child is, so my child loses his lunchbox and water bottle. Not that he loses it, he leaves it at school a lot. So our school year is gonna start it next month, and when it starts, I'm gonna have an extra, lunchbox, and I'm gonna have an extra water bottle, because my child is going to leave it at school. And when he leaves it, I don't say, "Oh, if your head wasn't attached, you would leave that at school too." That's shaming language. So my child struggles with remembering things. Now what I do say is like, "Hey buddy, make sure that you bring, I think you left your water bottle at school. Make sure you bring it home. And if you don't bring it home, like you're going to be taking, a Deer Park water, like you're going to be drinking out one of these until you bring the water bottles home." Or one time he left both of his lunch boxes at school, and it's like, "Hey buddy, now we're going to be using, a plastic bag." And but it's I'm not shaming him. My language isn't saying, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you remember? Like this is so easy. Why can't you?" It's like, "Hey, he's 7. He's almost 8. He forgets. And he likely has a ADHD diagnosis in his future, just like his mama." I have a mini me. We are very, very similar. And, that's shaming language. So if a child maybe has big emotions, the family saying, using language that is invalidating and shameful, that causes harm. Yeah, I love the questions. Trial obsessed, Paul Ferguson would be another example from the Shonda Vander Ark case. Paul was but he actually participated in the harm. There was clear evidence that he was used to starve, physically harm. He was the truest definition of an enforcer. To my knowledge, I'm not aware of the sister, because I think the sister would have like told on her. So I don't know that they had the sisterly bond where like they could have secrets. So it's normal for like, if you have siblings, that you keep each other's good secrets. And a good secret would be like, "Hey, she's dating and she's not supposed to, but like she's not gonna like run off with the person, or she's not being unsafe." Because anytime it gets to safety, then that's where it's not a good secret. And because the older sister seemed aligned with the parents and not with her sister. And she probably, because I think she's 19 or 20, she was an adult, still at home. And which can be common, like that's not a problem. But I think she was making sure that people stayed in line too. Lisa, I love this comment, that shaming language can live in someone's head for the rest of their life. Yes. And that's where a lot of clients I work with, when that shaming voice comes up, I ask them, who told you that? Like, whose voice is that? And we often go back, it's often a parent, or it was a teacher, or it was somebody important in their life that told them they couldn't do it. They weren't smart enough. They weren't good enough. They were never going to amount to anything. It was normally somebody like that. There are some people that on their own, they just kind of, they're perfectionistic on their own. It's nobody else's pressure, and they just have, they kind of shame themselves. But when it comes from the parents, it causes a lot of harm. All right. Hey, let me know if y'all have questions. If y'all have questions. Yes. All right. I appreciate you all recommending this case. I did not realize just how, so I had heard about it, and um But once I started researching and getting into it, it was like, oh yes, there are definitely some cultural aspects that we need to talk about. And once again, we've seen this in, because I don't want to make it that it's a Muslim or Arab concern, because like this, similar things have happened in Christian groups, in cults, and because if you're not doing what the cult tells you to do, there have been cult leaders that have caused harm. And but it's any time that there's this, I know what's best for you, and if you go against me, you die type of group, that's going to cause a problem. And so anytime there's these high control, high demand groups or families, there's a risk for harm. All right. Vanilla Bean question: how to identify when a child is being affected by shaming language. So it often affects their self-esteem, and the child will often repeat that. So if I'm working, so I don't work with kids this young, but if I did work with 3-year-olds that are like, and if the 3-year-old is saying, you know, you're nothing but a piece of shit, or like if the 3-year-old is saying things that like 3-year-old shouldn't say, stuff like this 3-year-old has heard this from somewhere, this 3-year-old has, because there's this video over on TikTok, okay, and it's a little girl saying, the little girl says take a fucking nap, and she's like 2 or 3, she doesn't know, because the parents are like, hey, that's a bad word, and she's like, that's not a bad word, but I promise you, she has heard somebody say that. Like children just don't say those things on their own. This child has heard somebody say that before. And so they often start to repeat it. Sometimes they will start to say it to other people. Often bullies have been bullied, and that does not excuse it. Okay, so that does not excuse it, but it just kind of helps me understand. So if I'm working with a child that's bullying other children, I first want to see what's happening at home. How do the parents handle discipline? How are the parents managing behavior? Is there an undiagnosed impulse issue? Like what's going on here? I want to dig a little bit deeper. Lisa, like I'm telling you, like and the parents posted it, like, ha ha ha, this is so funny. And I'm like, y'all are like, that child has heard somebody say to take a effing nap. Like somebody said that before. um, oh, I love this. Whew. Something that helped me with shame was the mantra, I alone decide how I feel and think about myself. Wow, Anne. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that is helpful for somebody else, even on replay, because, and I did get a book. I keep everything on my desk. Like, if y'all could see my desk is like, I have, like, I could have put an earring in if I wanted to. I have Claritin. Like I have all the things on my desk. But there, I finally got the book, The Sky is Red. And let's see. Because it's my understanding it's supposed to teach kids about inner strength, self-trust, and it's specific, and it specifically is when other people are trying to tell the child that the sky is red, but the child can see the sky's blue. Like, wait a minute. So to challenge what other people are saying, and that my perception and my beliefs matter too. And so we might read this on a different stream. All right. Yay! Start taking notes. I love that. Psych nerds. Yes. Ooh. Um, I appreciate you all so much, so much. Lisa, you are forever sending me things, sending me stories to cover, and all of that. Uh, and so, yeah, we're gonna. Hmm. Oh, true. If you're going to read it, make sure to get permission. So that's why I decided to not read the whole thing, because it can be a copyright violation to read the entire book. So I might read the whole thing myself and then just tell y'all the gist of it. Something told me not to read it, and then yes. You have to because it can be a copyright violation. Thank you, Afton. I appreciate it. Whew, that case. All right. So we have to talk about so I'm not going to play it. Okay, I'm not going to play any of it. I just want to debrief Madeline Soto, Stefan Sterns plea and sentence hearing. And so Stefan Sterns, if you don't know about the Madeline Soto case, it came out of Florida. Horrific. She went missing initially. People thought she was missing. And it turns out that the mom's, technically, I think ex-boyfriend, but mom's live-in boyfriend. And the word that's going through my mind is piece of shit, but like, it's not like he's it's just like, but we know now just, just how much of an immature, just ugh, evil, just ugh person he was. And it broke my heart to hear Maddie's dad talk about how he was just so close to potentially being able to get custody of her. Because at 13 years old, he was going to potentially, because she would be able to say where she wanted to live. And Maddie had expressed interest in living in, I think he lives in Texas, and living in Texas with her dad. The mother was not there. And honestly, I think it would have been so all the news cameras would have been on her. People would have people would have like flocked to like if she had shown up in person, and there would have been a lot of people mad that she could have stopped it. Um there are some cases that I hear about where it's like the person, there is an adult sneaking into a child's room at night or something. But what happened to Maddie, Maddie's mother sent her to Stefan's room because her mom wanted to get good sleep that night. And Maddie's mom wouldn't let Maddie sleep in the same bed with her father because she was like, I don't know, she thought the father would do something. And she had no reason, and to my knowledge, to be worried about the dad, but had every reason to be worried about Stefan Stern. And he did take a plea deal. It ended up saving him from the death penalty. And he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. He was convicted on the murder and CSAM charges, and it's a very, very heartbreaking case. There was I think it was a friend of Maddie's that I couldn't even finish the friends um statement. And so please take care of your mental health. So if you, because true crime aficionados, like when you watch true crime, you have to see how is it affecting you? How is it affecting your view of the world, your view of things around you? Like how is it affecting you? Locally, we just had a situation in a mall where like somebody tried to kidnap a child at the mall, and my child is going to go with me shopping for school, like for school clothes soon, but I'm not going to go in with fear. So we're gonna use appropriate safety measures where like he stays with me, and he knows to not go off with strangers. But sometimes things can happen that make you rethink your environment, that make you rethink your world. Now, I do think there are general things that parents can do to just have conversations with their kids about consent. Let me get this book. This is one of my favorite books. I use it with teenagers sometimes. Let's talk about body boundaries, consent, and respect. And with older kids, with like middle school, high school kids, we talk about um uh so like consent needs to be enthusiastic. It shouldn't be like a non-statement, but and that they have the right to say no. And I mentioned to you all before, my child does not have to hug anybody. He does not have to say I love you to grandma or Gigi. Like, he is able to think for himself. He has his own thoughts and feelings. And I think that was one of the things that came up with Ravi too. Kathy said making sure that she wanted to make sure that her kids knew growing up, that she would ask them, "What do you think? What do you feel?" Because growing up, she didn't feel like she could be her own individual, autonomous person. And so it's really important that kids grow up knowing that it's okay for them to have their own thoughts. It's okay for them to have their own feelings, and it doesn't have to match. And that's where, with my child, we just talk about you still have to be respectful. So my child he hates broccoli, and he hates most vegetables. He's not a big vegetable fan. But to grow big and healthy, he needs a balanced diet. So we negotiate how he gets his vegetables. And this week, he's getting his vegetables through a fruit smoothie. So we add a little baby spinach in with some strawberries and blackberries, and that's how. But like, it's a I don't force him to eat broccoli. And the decisions kids make around food, I think that's really important too. But yes. Uh, Oh, I saw your comment, Afton. Yeah, so Maddie and Jen, I believe both of their last names are Soto. Hey, Christy, welcome late. I just love it when y'all are here. Like, it's fine. So we talked about that, and then the next case that we're gonna be talking about, and thank you to whoever was over on Court TV stream. Somebody was like, "Dr. Barry, are you gonna talk about Shelby Neely?" Shelby Neely. That's a gentleman. He unalived his wife, her parents, and her brother. And he pled guilty to it all, but he's trying to avoid the death penalty. And some mental health experts have started. They're going to have a psychologist, a neuropsychologist, possibly. I don't know if they're going to have, because they did some brain imaging. They're going to talk about IQ scores and all those things. Yes. Shelby Neely. I thought he was going to claim, because they mentioned in the chat that he was going to claim schizophrenia and that he was psychotic at the time. I have not been able to hear all of that, all of the testimony yet. I plan to talk about that case no later than Saturday. Keep your eyes open because I have some time on Thursday. I might get bored. I might do it on Thursday, depending on, like, if the jury comes back, because the jury is deciding whether he gets life without the possibility of parole or if he gets the death penalty. That's what the jury is going to decide. That case is a whole mess. He has some history of trauma. Trauma does not mean you get to do crimes. Okay. So we are responsible for our healing. We can't control what happens to us, but we can manage our healing. Um, and I think I want to watch all the testimony because I think some of it might be graphic about some of his trauma. I saw the defense opening because they waited to do their opening until the state had rested. Because I think this is going on today was day 5, and so I guess they're going on day 6 of this penalty phase, and it's a whole mess. And I think he immediately said that he did it, and it's just a whole mess. And so there will be mental health testimony. Y'all know I love it when experts testify, and then I like to break down some of their testimony a little bit more or answer y'all's questions if there are questions that come up about it. All right. I and it is okay to take breaks from true crime. Somebody got upset on a video that I did recently, and they were like, "How are you, a psychologist, participating in the, like, true crime obsession or something?" And it's like, "Did you watch my content?" Like, so anytime I talk about a case, I don't do it for likes, clicks, and views. So any case I talk about, it's for us to learn something. It's for us to break down a specific mental health topic. It's not just for us to watch and stare at the car accident. It's for us to hopefully, like, learn and grow from situations. And so the person was clearly new here, and I didn't even respond. I don't. I might have. I think I might have said like, I only we're here to learn because I was pretty sure they didn't watch my content. Because I saw something over on Facebook where somebody took there's a prominent psychologist, and she made a statement that we are often drawn into drama and to negative things because our brains are wired to survive. So these cases they attract us, but this shouldn't be the only thing you're consuming. So please, like, you want to make sure to watch it, other things besides just true crime, especially if it starts to cause difficulty with sleep, or it starts having you rethink, making you afraid of the world and things like that. But it's people are interesting. I did hear about the California couple that ended up with 21 infants from numerous surrogates, and the infants were all because that is. So I need more information to come in on this case. So I'm probably going to wait to talk about it until it goes to trial, or until there is more information, um, more evidence, more information released. I feel bad for the surrogates who thought they were carrying and providing a child to a couple that, but I wonder if there was some deeper, more sinister stuff happening there. And so I've waited to talk about that one. Yeah, it's literally 21. It's out of California. You can look it up. Um, because I was wondering if any of those surrogates would try to adopt the child that they carried. Yay, so glad to be here. So, and also I learned about, like, so, like, if I didn't follow true crime, I wouldn't know Snapchat. Ooh, that does not delete. So don't do crimes, y'all. Don't do crimes. And then, but like, your search history, like, I know more about, like, how the courts work. I like looking at the forensic testimony. Like, I like looking at that stuff, and the person that didn't like it should have just moved on to a different channel. Go watch Josh Johnson or something else. For anybody that likes Josh Johnson, he's going to be hosting the Daily Show this week. And so I will be watching his stream tonight, and then also the other thing. So I learned about Gray Rock. I learned about Darvo from True Crime. Gray Rock was probably TikTok. So Gray Rock was definitely TikTok. But Darvo was true crime. And Darvo is deny, attack, reverse victim, and defender. Okay. So I learned Darvo from Grizzly True Crime. Yes. And I follow people that try to cover true crime in a way that isn't too triggering. Um, so, like, I love the way Emily D. Baker and Grizzly True Crime and some other people cover cases. Um, and we all have our favorites. It is what it is. And you said your cousin scolded you for being interested in true crime, but she likes violent movies. Exactly. Like, what's the difference? I don't get it. Now, in a movie, it's made up and it's fictional. I get that, but I don't know. So I would rather watch a true crime case than watch a, like, serial K, like, movie that I normally don't watch stuff like that. Lisa, thank you. All right, y'all are the best. I want to mention something else, and it might escape me. I might have to talk about it later. Was there a different case? Was there anything else? Are we done? We talked about the upcoming case, the California. Oh, Lisa, for you, I wanted to talk about grieving the loss of celebrities. So recently, Malcolm, I don't know me in names. I believe it's Malcolm Jamal Warner. Yes, Malcolm Jamal Warner. And then also today, I saw the news that Ozzy Osbourne had also passed, and the loss of celebrities, especially tragic. So Malcolm Jamal Warner, tragically, if anybody doesn't know yet, sorry, he drowned, and it was a riptide situation, and my heart breaks for his family. And I loved watching the shows that he's been on, and he was a very important part of my childhood. So I was a latchkey kid, okay? So from the time I was about maybe 12, definitely when I was in middle school, I would when I came home, I had a key to the house, and I would lock the door, and then I would go and watch TV. And the shows he was on were a big part of my childhood. And the TV being on helped me manage because I was kind of anxious being by myself, but like so I always had the TV on because I needed noise. Because when houses are quiet, they make noise. And so TV has always been a bit of a comforting thing for me. And sometimes people can it can be surprising when they grieve the loss of celebrities deeply. So I cried when Whitney Houston, Luther Vandross, there are other, major people that Robin Williams. It wasn't a cry, but like my heart broke for his family and the communities. There was recently a celebrity chef that I love following that I watch. Ah, and Anthony Bourdain when he passed. Like there are just multiple celebrities that I never met in person, but they're not being here on this earth anymore. It did have an impact. So I haven't been on social media as much because my Facebook feed is all just people grieving that loss. And each time I see it, it kind of reopens the wound. So I've been, um, I probably go on Facebook too much, but I've been going on it less or scrolling less often because as I just see image after image, it's like, okay, I need to get off. And so yeah, Princess Diana. Yes, yes. Um, especially because like when it's a car accident, when it's these unexpected tragic, when somebody is in their prime. So I'm 42, so I feel like 50s is like that's still really young. And so my heart just really goes out to his family. The way that you cope is similar um to a somebody that you knew in real life. Sometimes it can be a little hard to watch the things that they were on. So for some people, it might take a month or 2 before they can go back to watching some of those things. Sometimes people have had other grief, other losses where it reopens like a deeper wound. So that's where your therapist, okay? That's where therapy or your safe community where you can kind of grieve and talk together. That's where you find those positive outlets. But being able to share, talking about things that you loved, being able to look back at the memories, and then also being sad that, like, I'm not gonna see him in anything in the future. Yes, the loss of Michael Jackson too. I see a lot of you all putting, yeah, Mother Teresa. Yeah. Putting people Matthew Perry. Yeah, and Zimmy said that you still can't watch Friends. And the hard part for me with Matthew Perry was just knowing that while he was filming Friends, that he was in active addiction. And so it was even hard for him to watch Friends too. That when he watches it, like he might remember or he might not remember certain things because of the substance abuse at the time. And so um, those are some general tips, some general coping things. So we breathe. Acceptance isn't approval. And so it's normal to be in denial because I don't think it's really hit me that he's gone. Malcolm Jamal Warner, that one, I hasn't really hit me yet. Um, I'm okay. This is only day 2. I'm okay staying in denial a little bit longer. Um, then sometimes you get a little angry, like, "God, why?" Or "Why?" "Why him?" I don't wanna list anybody else's name, but, like, why him? And then, you can kind of go into bargaining sometimes, maybe not, and then sometimes you finally get to that acceptance of we can value and appreciate the life that he lived. And the thing that situations like this makes me do is it makes me reach out to the people that I love, to the people that I take for granted, to the people that I haven't talked to in a while. So the way my friendships work, so Dr. Barry is a really bad friend. Not a bit like I don't mean to be, but like I have a lot going on and I'm not great about like reaching out to people. I'm not great. I'm not great. But when I do, I say, "Hey, let's get together on Friday," or like, "Let's get together." I can go a year without seeing some of my closest friends. And the hard part about that is when we get together, it's like we just saw each other yesterday. Our relationships are so deep that we're not in each other's face every day. But God forbid, if something happened to them, like I would be really, really hurt knowing that I wasn't being intentional about those relationships. So sometimes moments like this remind me to be intentional in my relationships with the people in my life. Okay, good. All the bad friends in the chat like I don't mean to be. Like I'm a good person. It's just easier if we work together. And so this is Gossip Rumor and Innuendo. If you aren't subscribed and you love true crime, like she's not going to give you the facts. She's going to give you, did you say the FAX? Like I missed that. But she's going to give you the rumors. She's going to break it down to you really fast. Her interview with Ravi is what really helped me prepare for this video. And so I love this. Um, so I moved around a lot as a kid. That's not an excuse. It just helps y'all understand me a little bit better. So my longest friendship, we have been friends since ninth grade, and we only lived on the same continent for 1 year. Might have only been like the school year. Might have only been 10 months. Might have been the whole year. I'm not sure. But my absolute best friend, we only lived on the same continent in our childhood for because I moved back to the US. She was still in Germany, and we used to send each other care packages. So I used to record American TV on VHS tapes and send that to her, and she would send me like German candy and like the things that I liked from Germany, and we used to have to write each other letters. Like that is one of my oldest friends. I make and the hard thing, because this year I don't know that I'm gonna make it down to Florida to see her this year. She has my nieces, and I really, really, I don't think I'm gonna make it down this year. I'll definitely make it down next year. If things happen, then I'm definitely like I will be there in a moment. If she needed me, I would drop everything and I would be there. And that's where I say our relationship is deep because I had other shallow friendships. Like sometimes work friends, it's like, hey, I talk to you because we both work here. Once we don't work here anymore, I don't know. I might not see you as much because I don't have to. But I have some work friends where it's like I will drop everything to go eat lunch with you. So where we do have some of those deeper connections, deeper friendships. But I have to be very intentional about my friendships and relationships because I get busy and it's like, oh wow, I haven't seen them in a year. What just happened? And so it is what it is. My kid is going to come up here demanding food very soon. I love Kinder eggs, and the US Kinder eggs are not the same. Unless they change, the US Kinder eggs are not as good. I loved the original because they were thicker. Unless they change the way they make them, the Kinder eggs are absolutely amazing. I love the Kris Kringle Festival. We used to go to the Christmas events. Busch Gardens in Virginia, they have a Germany section. We went there recently around the 4th of July, and I had some bratwurst and some sauerkraut. Like I had it with the mustard. I was like teaching my family, like, this is the way you eat German food. It wasn't the German mustard, because German mustard and German ketchup taste different, but, like, I made the French's ketchup or French's mustard work on it. It was fine. Um, but I am 20% British, like, true story, 20%. I love milk in my coffee. Uh, oh, not just coffee, and in my tea. So in my black tea, so I do Earl Grey tea and English breakfast tea, and I like milk. 'Cause I like tea with my sugar and cream. That's just how I am. Yes. Kinder eggs and Christmas games. Yes. And so, I love it. Wow. I love Germany, during Christmas time, and we visited the castles, the Nuremberg Castle, and, 'cause some of that gets into, I think, Austria or something. I think you cross into a different country. But we visited the castles, the cathedrals. We had a blast there. And so, thank y'all for being here with my rambling. I appreciate you all. I'm going to go feed my kid. I wasn't a big meat pies friend. You're British and you claim me. Because I didn't realize Patrice, was it Patrice that can be a British name? Because my dad's name is Patrick. I was named after my dad. There was some country where Patrice, but there are other countries. There are multiple countries that have Patrice as a name. But I appreciate you all. Bye for the 5th time. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.